Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Fantasia Barrino performs live at Wolf Trap in Vienna, Virginia on Friday, August 19th. We spoke about her rise from North Carolina to winning Season 3 of American Idol, launching a career of hit records and Broadway shows like The Color Purple.
Hey, Jay, how are you?
Hey, Fantasia, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP.
Thanks for having me.
It's an honor to talk to you. We're talking because you are going to be coming to perform live at Wolf Trap, a beautiful, beautiful spot. It's like a national park mixed with a concert venue, sort of outdoors. It's awesome. And it's going to be on August 19th. Have you ever played that spot before?
You know what? I probably have. When I get on that stage, I zone out. So probably when I get there, I'll be like, okay, I've been here, but it sounds familiar to me. Either way, I'm going to come and do my thing on the stage. So
yeah, you know what? When you're crisscrossing the country, it probably runs together for you after a while. How dare I ask that? But if our fans or your fans are going to hear this and come on out, what are they going to hear? Obviously, I guess it's going to be a mix of like more of your greatest hits of over the years, and then anything new, like a new album you're working on or anything.
Well, we're working on a lot of new things. I just got off the Color Purple set. We were there in Atlanta for like 6 months. And so now after playing Seeley again, and I kind of want to go back to my roots in the beginning. I think, I don't know how long you've been doing radio, but, sometimes we get to that point where we're like, okay, something's missing. And when you get into to the entertainment business, it's always like, go, 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 go. And you get to see a lot of different things, but you also feel like you're somewhat disconnected to where you started. And for me, I want to go back to when I was a little girl. I know it sounds strange to some people, but I started singing when I was 5 years old with my family. And I come from a singing family on my father's side, first cousins Casey and JoJo from Jodeci. And we used to do things a certain kind of way. And we used to sing a certain kind of music with very nothing but soul. We started out in gospel. And so for me, this time around, been in the game for 20 years, I'm kind of looking for that feeling that I used to have when I was a little girl. So we're going to take it back. I'm linking up with my oldest brother. I'm linking up with my cousins. And we're going to go into a house, not even a studio. I know it sounds crazy, but we're going to go into a house and we're going to record like we used to record. And this time I'm bringing a sound that I feel we haven't heard since the women and the men who came before us were doing it. Music has changed so much. And I do feel people are hungry for good music. People are ready to eat a good meal. And that's what we're preparing in the studio today. So when I hit the stage, of course I'm doing all of my hits. But I also always take it back. And whether that is old school, whether that is gospel, whether that is jazz, I try to give a little something for everybody because believe it or not, there's always a different variety of people in the audience. There's aunties, there's uncles, there's young people, there's, white, black, and everybody's coming out to hear a good body of work. I always say to eat a good meal because to me, music is food for the soul. So I give a little bit of everything, and that's what we're bringing to this new album, this new sound.
I love that you were talking about your roots, and just remind everybody that it was North Carolina somewhere, right?
Yeah, I'm from North Carolina. Yeah.
North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And you said your cousins were Casey and JoJo. We all remember, All My Life and all those great songs that they did. What were they like growing up?
Well, Casey he's probably the one I'm the most closest to, and he's always been somebody I've looked up to. Of course, he started in gospel as well with my father and my uncles, and I would always watch him because when he sings, he moves people. And of course, he has such an amazing story to tell. Went through some things just like I did. So his testimony, where he is now from where he came from, is absolutely amazing. But I followed him. He always gave me great talks. When he would come to High Point to visit us, I would tell him I wanted to go with him. He would say, no, you don't. Stay in school, do your thing. So now that we're both in the industry, industry, and we're both hitting somewhat of the same stages. He's my mentor, and he's somebody who plays a big, big role in my life. So, I mean, it was always singing going on when we all linked
Yeah.
up, and that's what I want to bring back to my world right now.
Right.
I miss it. I miss
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And to steal a line from the beginning of one of their songs, growing up, they knew you since you were a baby, 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 baby. That's how that song opened. I think that was All My Life. Yeah. Well, that's a perfect
Yes.
transition. All right, that's the best Fantasia I got on this Monday morning. Sorry, that's all I got. But
It was good. I
thank
liked
you.
it.
Thank you. Well, I know that you sang All My Life in the finale of Idol, but take me into Idol. I mean, needless to say, obviously changed your life in season 3, but talk about how just insane of an experience that was, because that was like I mean, Jennifer Hudson was that season, you were that season. I mean, it was a crazy class
Yeah.
that year.
I mean, it crazy in a good way. It was so
Yeah.
much talent on the stage with me. You know, so there were scary moments, but also great moments, because when you love music and you're not competitive with others, you're just more competitive with yourself. It was at a point where we spent so much time together. We got to know each other. We got to know each other's families, hear each other's story. At that point, it was just like we were all praying for each other. Like, whoever takes it, just take it and go far. It, you know, I think it was very different for all of us, something we had never done before, being on that type of platform. But I had a great group. I had Latoya London, we had George Huff, we had we had two girls from Hawaii, and both of them could sing. I mean, it was just a roster of great talents, and they're all still doing their thing. Everybody's, doing what God created for them to do, and the doors that God is opening up for all of them. So I'm very proud of them. We still keep in touch, but it was different, especially for me, because I think I was the most, probably the country girl on the group. I was the country girl. I was the Southern girl. I was from High Point, North Carolina, and had never really seen anything on that level. Of course, singing all my life, but I was in Hollywood for the first time, away from my family, on television, and a lot of them had did somewhat, certain things that I hadn't done before. So that was a moment for me where I had to strictly trust God. And I told him, if this is what you have for me, I will walk through the door. I will always keep you with me. I will always stay humble. And that's what I just tried to do, is stay humble and know that it's not me. It's all God. And he opens doors for me, and he will continue to open them for me. And, my testimony is good, it's bad, but it's necessary. And was that door opening for me. So I'll always be grateful for that.
Talk about the exact moment that door opened, because you're knocking on that door, you're in the finals, and suddenly you hear Ryan Seacrest call, and the winner is, they draw it out probably after a commercial break or whatever they always did. But what's that like when
Yeah.
your name is called and the confetti falls? I mean, are you just, you have to know in that moment, wow, my life has changed forever.
Uh, for me, I mean, and that's been so long ago, but I'll never forget that feeling. Everything kind of broke off of me. If you go back and play the footage from that, my heel broke on my shoe,
Oh
my
yeah.
bracelet broke off, my necklace broke off. Yeah, and for me that was spiritual. For me, it was like we're breaking. Generational curses were breaking, and God was about to allow me to walk through some major doors. Of course, at that time I was 19 years old, and I wish that I would have had just a better protection, a team around me, because it is the industry. But again, like I said, it was necessary, everything that I went through. But for me, I look at it like chains and things had broken off for me and my family.
I love the symbolism of that. And of course, that shows how much of a creative artist you are, that you see the, signs and symbols and everything. But I love the symbolism of the everything breaking and you breaking free. That's so great. One final idle
Yeah.
question real quick. Any good tidbits on, Seacrest or Simon, or, and what are those famous folks
Uh,
judge behind the scenes? Like, are they nurturing as they seem on screen, or what are they like?
they're all human. They're all, what you see on the cameras is really what you get. Uh, I think they all took a liking to me, especially Simon. And after we would do things on screen, they would come to the back and speak to all of us and encourage all of us. And so that was really big. But Simon will always be my favorite. I think why? Because I like his honesty. I feel like we live in a world now where everybody's patty caking people and telling people what they want to hear. And he was just always the one that never did that. And he reminded me a lot of my father. My father is the man who put me on stage when I was 5 years old. And he would tell me when I was wrong and he would tell me when I was right. And I do think we need a little more of that, especially today, in today's time, because we're losing ourselves, and we're losing touch with the signs. Like I told you, you were like, I think that's incredible that you still see the signs.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we get really, really lost, and people like Simon for me was the one that kept me where I needed to be. He reminded me of my dad, and I appreciate him for his honesty and his tough love. So what you see on the camera is really who Paula, who Randy, Simon, they were all cool people. And they didn't, I think for me, being fresh in the industry, they were my first examples outside of my cousins. But just really being there in the moment, around cameras, in Hollywood, they were my first examples of you don't have to really change who you are when you are gifted, when you are creative, when you are building an empire. You don't have to change who you are. You can stay the same. And just be a blessing to other people and keep grinding and working and let your life be a testimony. So that's what they were. And I enjoyed that.
I love it. And the brutal honesty, tough love that you're talking about. Yeah, the world could use some more tough love. I'm with you. Awesome. Well,
You know,
pivoting out of Idol really quick into that first album, because as soon as you win, I mean, I Believe is like the hit, the celebration song of you winning. It goes number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. But tell me about putting together the whole album. It was Free Yourself. I think you got like 3 Grammy nominations or something like that. But what is there? Is it excitement? Is it pressure? Like, okay, I just won. I need to make sure I put out a good album. Or what's the whole experience like just putting together the album right off the heels of Idol?
it was always fun for me. It was always fun. I try not when you allow prayer to come in, it's not fun anymore. And that's what I was talking about. Going back to my roots, we used to sing when nobody was paying us. We used to sing just because we loved to sing. So going in the studio and working with people like Missy Elliott, Jermaine Dupri, Sean Garrett, Jazzy Faye. I had a lot of heavy hitters on that first album. It was a shocker to be in their presence, but to also get with creative people uh, such as themselves, it made me go even harder. It gave me a high. It was like a rush. I didn't need anything to drink. I didn't need anything to get me there, but to be in their presence and to hear what they were creating. I think the best part about it too was they followed me on Idol, and they did their research, and they took my story and my real, my honesty, and they put it into the records. And that album did so well because people could relate to it. You had other people who went through some of the same things that I went through, who were, when you think of the word idol, and I think this is what I caught in the beginning, you think of a perfect person, the look, the way they talk, the way they walk, they think of something perfect. And I was not that. I was not that perfect person. I had a story. I was a mother when I came, a young mother when I came onto Idol. I didn't speak the way they thought I should speak. I was the one that came out on stage with my shoes off and sang Summertime. And that's crazy because you're on TV, and so many people are looking at you and you think, well, don't you want to go out polished? Don't you want to go out poised? And I said, no, I want to go out Tasia. So all of those producers and writers, they followed me and they listened to my interviews and they brought real music to my album that people could relate to. And so there was no pressure for me. And that I don't ever want it to be any pressure for me. I just want to do what I love, and that is sing and bless people through the music. As long as I can do that, then I'll live a peaceful life. And my story doesn't have to go down in history as I was always trying to do this, so I ended up in a bad position. No, I'm always going to keep it real. Always going to keep it honest. I do that on that album, the second album, the third album, this album we're about to do, because it blesses people because we're human and we go through real life situations and people are hungry to be fed for encouragement and to be inspired. And young singers and young rappers, and they want to see somebody who's really going through the trenches and really went through the fire. And I'm that girl. So no pressure at all. But I was in the room with some heavy hitters for the first time. So I knew I had to bring it.
Oh yeah, well you brought it, and you're saying yeah, heavy hitters on that first one. But I'm glad you're saying you didn't view it as pressure. That's great. Well, how do you think you evolved from that second album, Fantasia? You know, with the hit song "When I See You," we all remember that. How do you think you evolved from that to the third album, Back to Me, with Bittersweet and all that stuff? Like, did you see yourself growing? You know, from we as fans see it as just listen as fans, but like from musically, or did you
Mhm.
find yourself maturing or evolving or anything musically, like from an artist standpoint?
Oh, of course. I mean, I was so young when I won. Um, we grow, we go through new things. I'm married now with three beautiful children. My daughter's birthday is today. My oldest, she turned 21.
Oh, happy
Happy birthday to
birthday.
her. Thank you. So, I mean, we grow and we get into so many different situations, whether that is personal, whether that is business. And some of that is beautiful and some of that is ugly. I do think that is necessary. And so as I grow and as I go through certain things, that all falls into my music. That falls into not only just the music, the sound. Because I like to say I have different sounds. When we were on Idol, we didn't do just R&B. We tapped into a little bit of everything, and I believe that matured my vocal in such a way to where if I am going through anything, if I have experienced anything, if there's anything going on in the world, which there's been a lot happening, that all comes through your sound. It moves through your body. I'm a soul singer. So, we have a lot of soul singers that we can list that came before us, that brought forth great music, that inspired us and helped us. James Brown, for one, Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle. My first song that I sang on Idol was Bonnie Raitt. Of course, she was a country singer, but that song got me through top 12 because it was the sound, it was the grit, it was what she felt, and so I took it and did it Tasia's way. And as a soul singer, everything you deal with comes through your music. Period. You can't even help it. You can't help it. Like when I'm on stage, somebody comes up to me and they're like, "Where did you go?" I'm like, "Girl, I don't know. I went someplace else." But I go to a place as a soul singer and it comes from my feet up my body through my vocal. So the fact that I am, been in the game now for 20 years, oh my God. Um, as I grow, as I grow and as I go through different things, as I meet different people and as I fall and I get back up, all of that stuff comes through my sound because I'm a soul singer.
Oh yeah, it's just such a unique voice and such a signature sound we've come to love over the years, and
Thank
everything.
you.
Congrats on everything, all the albums we mentioned, and then playing Celie in Broadway's in The Color Purple. There's just so much you've done, so it's great. I guess I know we're up against the clock. Final seconds. Like, do you still keep in touch with that the Idol winners or runner ups? Like, I mean, that's a small club, You, Ruben, Kelly Clarkson, all. I mean, there's only a few that can say they've won.
Yeah. Well, I think we keep in touch as much as we can. They've all grown to be fathers. Ruben is married now and he has a child. Kelly has her kids. She's doing her show. We all, I would say I'm very proud of them because we've all taken that door that opened from us and taken advantage and going full speed ahead. But when we all see each other in passing, whether that is at an award show, talk show, wherever we see each other, we all end up in a corner, chit chatting, catching up, laughing, remember this, remember that. But I always say when you are trying to leave a legacy, when you are trying to be a game changer, you don't really have a whole lot of time to just be sitting up chit chatting on the phone because of course we've all grown and we're mothers and we're wives and we're husbands. But when we come together, especially coming from Idol, it's almost like we never left. It's almost like we just seen each other yesterday and we all kick it, enjoy each other, catch up. And that's the one thing that I love. The Idol will always be just a big family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Fantasia, bringing magic like the Disney movie. Fantasia, gonna bring the magic to Wolf Trap Friday, August 19th. So get your tickets now. Thanks so much for doing this. This was great.
Good talking to you, Jay. Can I call you Jay?
Yeah, call me Jay. Yeah, if I can call you Fan.
Just call me Tasia. Call me Tasia. That's what everybody
Tasia.
calls me at home. We're
Tasia.
family now. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this, Tasia. I appreciate it.
Bye. Thank you. God bless you, Jay.
You too. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.